All right, so we're diving deep today, and guess what? This one's a listener suggestion.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're going to get to know this scholar, Jason Hickel,
Okay.
and he's working on some, really big stuff. Global inequality, climate change.
Wow.
And he's done, get this, ethnographic research in South Africa. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's a pretty fascinating combination, like global issues and the on-the-ground research.
Right. So I'm curious, what jumps out at you about his background? Where should we even start with this guy?
Well, I mean, his credentials are pretty impressive.
Okay, lay it on me.
He's a professor at the Institute for Environmental Science and Technology at the Autonomous University of Barcelona
Wow.
and a visiting professor at the London School of Economics.
Okay, that's a pretty big deal.
It is. Plus, he's a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, and he's been involved with some really influential organizations like the U.S. National Academy of Sciences and the Lancet Commission.
Okay, so this is not just some, random guy with a blog. This is a serious scholar.
Exactly. He's definitely a leading voice in his field.
So I'm looking at his books here, and the title that really grabs me is Less is More.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because I keep hearing this idea, that endless economic growth, like the kind we're all supposed to be striving for, it's just not sustainable for the planet.
Right.
Is that what Hickel's research is all about?
Yeah, pretty much. He's really challenging the whole foundation of how our global economic system works.
Okay, so, capitalism. Is he saying capitalism is the problem?
Well, he dives deep into political economy. Basically, the idea that politics and economics are always intertwined. You can't separate them.
Right, okay.
And he connects that to inequality, of course, but also to what's called ecological economics, like how our economic activity is impacting the environment.
So he's not just saying capitalism is bad, but more like the way we're doing it is messing things up.
Yeah, exactly. He's super critical of this idea that we need constant growth, more all the time.
Which is what we hear all the time.
All the time. But he's saying that leads to, well, environmental damage, obviously. And it actually increases inequality, too.
So what's the alternative?
Well, he talks a lot about a degrowth approach.
I mean growth.
Yeah. And it's kind of a tricky concept, I admit.
Yeah, it sounds a little scary, like we're going backwards or something.
Right, like we're all going to be living in caves. But it's not that at all. What he means by degrowth is shifting away from this idea that GDP growth, like this number going up, is the ultimate measure of success.
Which it is how we usually measure things, right? Like, is the economy growing? Okay, good.
Right. But he's saying we need to move beyond that, beyond this obsession with just accumulating more stuff, and create a system that actually operates within the limits of our planet.
So it's about redefining what progress even means, right? Like maybe progress isn't just about having more.
Exactly. And it's funny because his book titles really capture this, The Divide. That one looks at the huge inequalities between, rich countries and poor countries, the global north and south. And he argues those inequalities are a direct result of our current economic model.
So it's not just like an accident. It's built into the system.
Exactly. And then less is more. Well, that one just lays out the argument for why we need to move beyond this whole consumerist mindset, like less stuff, more well-being, more sustainability.
I like that. So you mentioned earlier he's done research in South Africa, right?
Right.
What was he looking at there? Like, how does that fit into all of this?
His work in South Africa was really focused on the impacts of colonialism.
Oh, wow.
And the struggles that are still going on today fighting against economic inequality. He was working with communities that are dealing with things like land dispossession.
Which is?
Basically being kicked off their land, often because of, colonial policies from way back. And he also looked at labor exploitation, people being treated unfairly in their jobs. And what's so powerful about his work is that he connects these very real on-the-ground experiences to these big global systems of power and inequality that he writes about.
So it's not just academic theory for him. He's actually seen how this stuff plays out in people's lives.
Exactly.
Which makes his arguments even more compelling.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, where is he going next with all of this?
What is he working on now?
Well, he's got this project going, exploring radical climate mitigation, economic democracy, and post-capitalist transition.
So it's like, okay, we get IT, the current system isn't working, now what?
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to map out some actual pathways to a more just and sustainable future.
Well, he sounds like someone worth checking out. I'm definitely adding his books to my reading list. What was the most, thought-provoking thing for you about his work?
Honestly, I think it's just the way he challenges us to really question what we believe about progress, about economic growth. If we accept that endless growth unsustainable,
Which, I mean, it kind of seems like it is, right?
right, then that makes us rethink everything. How we live, how we work, what we even consider success.
Whoa, yeah, that is something to think about. And hey, maybe that rethinking leads you to a whole new career path.
Maybe.
And if you're in Barcelona and any of this stuff has got you fired up, maybe Hickel's work is inspiring you, you might want to check out AcademicJobs.com.
Yeah.
They've got listings from top universities, both local and global.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about making a change, finding a job that actually aligns with your values,
Right.
that could be a good place to start.
I like it.
All right, well, this was a great deep dive, really thought-provoking stuff. Thanks to our listener for suggesting Jason Hickel. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of academia.
Looking forward to it.